Hi everyone, welcome to MLOps 2025. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here and connect with you guys. So yeah, I mean, obviously today, we are going through some AI Foundry that Microsoft Azure is offering, right? We'll go a little bit, in terms of what we are offering specifically from Microsoft point of view, right? And then we'll also dive a little bit around, what is an agent, how AI apps, agents are transforming industries and developer experiences. We'll also go through a little bit around Azure AI Foundry, so agent service, right? And then I'll also show you a quick, get started, the template that we are offering through Azure portal. And that you can use it as a Kickstarter, that you can play around with AI agents with a predefined template. And also I'll try to show you, the Azure AI Foundry service, how you can navigate, what are the things that you can do with Azure AI service. And then we'll also cover a little bit around use cases, what are the use cases? I mean, obviously there are a lot of use cases, but I'll simply dive in one or two use cases for you to, get some idea around it. And then, I'll share some resources around, how to get started, right? And again, please use Q&A, if you have any questions or anything to post around. Let's dive in. So yeah, I mean, just some metrics up here, right? 81% say they expect agents to be moderatively or extensively integrated into their company's AI strategy in the next 12 to 18 months. And if you look at, right, by 2025, around 60%, they are trying to incorporate enterprise agents, to automate specific business functionalities. And by 2028, we are expecting, the Gartner and other Microsoft, assessment is expecting around 90%, software engineers will use AI code assistance, right? And obviously, Microsoft is also named as a leader for the 5th year, in terms of Microsoft Cloud or cloud services that Microsoft is offering. So, when you look at, how these AI agents and AI apps, all these use cases that you are seeing or all these capabilities that can be leveraged across different industries to bring to life, many different use cases, right? Specifically, if you are looking at, some of these use cases like customer experience, right? By creating unique chatbot experiences that can help customers to find information that they need, whether it might be identifying or summarizing some key data elements to help employees to be more productive, or to help customers to get the real business value for the offerings that these customers are providing, right? Or any developer or any company as a startup or anything that you're trying to build, you want to utilize or want to have early ROIs, right? That's where AI can help you, right? To isolate some potential risk, get some intelligent apps, that can create some value and gain some competitive advantage. So, when you look at agent, right? So simple agent is nothing but a microservice that is designed to process unstructured messages. And optionally, it can invoke APIs, right? And then return some structured response. But if you look at the workflow, the first step is receive some events, whether it might be user messages, agent messages, system events, right? That will be a trigger point, right? And then what the next phase as part of the workflow, what you're seeing is the agent or the processing basically is nothing but these tools and knowledge and actions and memory. All these will be leveraged, these resources to fulfill the request, right? And then the agent simply returns the response to customer, right? So, when you look at, initially, when you have the AI service, right, you have a lot of, raw models or, black patterns and other patterns are being used. But when you look at agents, right, not only just responding, but it can reason, it can provide, some actions and responses, and also it started learning, right? So that's the next evaluation where, the agents are preceding. So these agents, right, it can be a simple agent like a chatbot, and it can go to a complex agent, right? So these complex agents, again, you're talking about doing a lot of background jobs. If there are some automated actions that need to be taken on behalf of some users, that can, the RPA process, everything can be automated using agents, right? And specifically when it comes to chatbot, whether it might be retrieval augment generation, knowledge tools, that can be a good use case again for, agents. But when you look at, before agent came into picture, right? You have a simple, AI application where it is talking to some kind of AI endpoint, OpenAI endpoint, or some kind of Gemini or any other endpoint that we are offering, or the AI service has been offered, that you can integrate, to find, knowledge retrieval using RAG pattern and things like that. But when you look at the agents, after agents, right? These agents, it can work more, resilient, and also it can take, previously you have to be very constructive. The input should be in a constructive manner, and then if there are any changes to any backend endpoints like API, still that need to be modified by the developer and things like that. But whereas agents, they can handle, they can take any such, changes in terms of input or in terms of data. They can self-heal and handle any such cases, right? So that's why the agents are much more resilient compared to, just invoking an AI endpoints. So when you look at, the way in which these AI apps and agents are changing, right? If you go back a little bit, right, we have single model, single POCs, and then we have implemented using RAG, simple structure where you put a prompt, get a response. But now it's evolving to the next phase where you have multimodal, and agent-to-agent communications. Also to build simple POCs and applications, as these are getting evolved, you need a platform, right? And that platform need to be agnostic, and also try to eliminate any generative or AI development changes. So that's where you need a platform, right? And Azure is here to help you. So Azure, if you look at, right, 93% of organizations are already experimenting with multiple models and things like that. So we thought, we need to build a platform, to help with the new trends and eliminate any generative and agentic AI development challenges, to help with that, right? So, what we are doing is, we build powerful apps and agents, whether it might be a low code, no code, pro code options that we are offering. Along with that, we also offer, choice of high performance and cost-effective application platforms, right? Whether you want to deploy like a Kubernetes clusters or app services or databases or any kind of cloud application platform or AI code assistance or data science projects or machine learning platform, anything that you want to build and deploy, we have Azure to help you out, right? So when you look at Azure AI Foundry, obviously, Azure AI Foundry is a platform of services that enables development teams to design, customize, and manage AI applications, right? If you are looking, or if you're a developer, you might be using GitHub or Visual Studio or GitHub Copilot, or even Copilot Studio, that are being offered to build solutions to analyze data and automate workflows, right? But also, if you want to customize to take some multi-agent, tool chain to orchestrate, custom workflows or agentic workflows that are being available for you through AI Foundry, right? And also, as part of the platform, we are also trying to bring more capabilities that you can continuously monitor and optimize AI performance, right? So when you look at, a little bit in depth what AI Foundry is offering, if you are a developer, you have tools like GitHub Visual Studio, Copilot Studio on the left side, and also now we are, providing Foundry SDK that you can, whether you want to build any call center applications or analyzing data applications, any such automated workflows that you want to build, that you can use as a developer to build. And Foundry brings models, agents, tools, and more into one unified experience, right? So if you look at this AI Foundry, we have the whole Foundry models, whether it might be proprietary Microsoft models or, there are out, we are supporting like Grok and other models also we are supporting on Foundry. So you can use any of the open source models that you can deploy, or straight away use any of these models that we are offering as a pass, like OpenAI, GPT models that you can use and to build and deploy on these, right? So to build these models as well as to deploy these models to run anywhere, you can use Azure Cloud, whether it might be, if you have something on-prem, you can use Azure Arc to connect. Also, we offer some serverless options like Azure Functions, container apps, or if you want full control, then you can use AKS. That will help you to deploy across different compute environments, right? So this is where I'm talking about, where you have Azure AI Foundry in the center, and you have developer experience, deployment stack, and that also comes with all the supported applications, database governance, all that required infrastructure that you are looking right with AI Foundry. So this AI Foundry not only just work with internal proprietary agents or things like that, but also these Foundry agent service that we'll talk a little bit more in the next slide. These also support agent-to-agent communication, MCP, and also ensuring seamless interoperability between these agent frameworks in the whole ecosystem. And the orchestration and execution will be provided for you by AI Foundry, right? So if you are a developer and you have any complex system to connect different models or backend APIs or different systems, you can use A2A protocols that we are supporting, or MCP, that model, MCP server also you can host or use any of the open source MCP servers, and you can deploy in Azure. Right, and when you look at the models we are offering, right, the best models we are offering here in Azure, right, around 1900 plus models we are offering through Azure AI model catalog, right. That includes, Grok, Mistral, Meta Llama models, OpenAI family, everything we are offering, right. And best part is we also have Hugging Face integration. So if you have your own open source model that you want to bring into Azure, you are very much happy to bring or use Hugging Face to build or bring any open source models, right? So here we have unified access to access all the open source LLM models in one place. And also we are providing scalable deployment options, right, where you can deploy AI workloads faster with flexible options. And also, not only that, we are also trying to give you all the enterprise-ready, benefits, right? Whether it might be security, governance, compliance features that you are looking at an enterprise AI scale, right? We have all those, been offered as part of AI Foundry service in Azure. So, what we thought is, okay, since we are going or taking into next, next phase, now we brought Azure AI Foundry Agent Service, which is GA. So Azure AI Agents Service is a flexible use case agnostic platform for building and deploying and managing AI agents, right? So we are also offering AI Foundry SDK that through AI, through the portal that you can connect and build custom workflows, and also to have enterprise grade security and performance guarantees. But what the agent or the Foundry services, Foundry agent service is doing is we are also helping you with multi-agent workflows, right? So now developers can customize specialized agents to work together and to handle complex tasks, right? Whether it might be decision making, boost operational efficiency, things like that, right? Or you can bring your own, like thread storage or even file storage or anything, right? You can bring your own service to integrate with agent service and deploy your solutions. So, when you are looking at, these agents, obviously now you have these multi-agent capabilities that you can connect, in the Azure AI Foundry service, whether it might be multiple agents that you want to talk to each other for better performance, or you can build, your own multi-agent workflow, right? Using semantic kernel or anything, or also we're offering SDKs and APIs that you can leverage, to build these capabilities. And also AI Foundry, we have this in preview, right? What we are doing is not only just deploying the models, but also you can incorporate observability, right? This observability will help you with, continuous insights into quality, performance, and ROI of their agents to help and scale with confidence, right? So when you're deploying your agents into Azure, if you want to monitor these, performance metrics or any kind of, information related to these agents, you can use Azure AI Foundry observability to monitor all these applications and agents. So, so let's do one thing. We'll, start with a small kind of, I'll walk through you, like, how this works, like in terms of AI Foundry, but also we'll take a small example or a POC, like how you can deploy quickly an agent, and then do some, prompting to see how these agents are responding, right? So, there are, Microsoft offers some out-of-the-box, templates. So you can use these templates to, deploy these agents, right? This will help you with flexible deployment options, right? Whether it might be agents, how you want to configure, you can do that configuration. These agents can be monitored, and then full end-to-end deployment cycle with DevOps integration is available. So, that you can see as we go forward. Right. So in this, simple POC, what we're going to do is deploy a simple, agent, and that agent, take some prompts from the client, which is nothing but a browser, and then make an API call to backend and connect to Azure AI agents. So internally, we are using OpenAI model, and we'll use that OpenAI model, and then we also connect some of the files that we upload, right? There are some files that we upload to storage account, and these API, OpenAI will connect to these files and respond us back, right? Whether it might be customer information or anything, right? So on a very high level, we have a web application that will be deployed on a container app, and we have some files, unstructured data. That unstructured data will be stored in Azure storage account, like a blob files. And then we also deploy Azure AI endpoint with OpenAI. And then this OpenAI endpoint will be connected to the storage account and where all the files are being hosted. So whenever the customer send or the client send a request, right? It connects to Azure AI Foundry project, where this project has access to the backend files, and then it will try to build the response and send us back the response. So, you can log into Azure portal, like using portal.azure.com, right? So if you don't have one already, you can sign up. There is a sign up link I'll share a little bit later. But using that sign up, you'll get $200 free credits. So you can use that $200 to play around, right? So once you sign up, log into Azure portal, right? And obviously, there is a different structure, how you have your subscriptions, resource groups, and things like that. But main thing is this Azure AI Foundry. So you can simply come here and search for Azure AI, and then you will be navigated to Azure AI Foundry, right? So here you can deploy AI Foundry projects, right? So you can select the resource group and provide the name, select the region and things like that, and then you can deploy. So I have deployed one already. So let me show you, let me take you there, right? So I have deployed one Foundry project already. So if I go into this Foundry project, right, you have to navigate to Azure AI Foundry portal, which is a separate portal, which will have all the detailed AI capabilities that you can see here, right? So once you go here, for deploying the AI Foundry project, it's free. You will not be charged anything, right? And then you can use all these governance capabilities for free, right? You will not be charged for anything. And then how you will be charged is basically by the tokens, depending on the model, and then how much tokens you are using, you will be charged accordingly. So once you go here and click on go to Azure Foundry portal, this will take you to this Azure Foundry portal, right? So this is where you'll see the endpoints and different other capabilities that we are offering, right? So, if you want to test something, you can always come here and use Playground to test something, right? So we have a lot of Playground options here, right? Whether you want to test some text-based or video-based or image Playground, different playgrounds we are offering that you can test around. And also we have this model catalog. This is where you'll see what models we are offering, right? You can see Grok 4 that was that we are supporting as of latest, and you can see DeepSeek or any other open source like Mistral and other Hugging Face. All that models you can see here, right? Whatever we are supporting. So to start with, right, you come here and start with deploying a model, right? So there will be some models you need to submit. You can come here and click on this deploy base model. That's where you'll see a lot of models that you can deploy, right? Some will need additional permissions, so you might need to submit a request on the use case, then you will get approved. But otherwise, some are like any mini models. If you take these are pre-approved, so you can directly deploy them, right? So if you go to this playgrounds, and then you can simply try with chart playground, right? So you can see here, you can select if you have an existing base model, you can select that base model and you can deploy, right? So let's do one thing. Let's take a quick example, right? And that example again, if you go to templates, right? We are offering some out-of-the-box, tools or kickstarters for you to start with, right? Let's start with one of these template, right? Get started with AI agents. So if you open this GitHub link, it will take you to this GitHub link. So this has a detailed instructions how you can deploy the model and all. So either you can use dev containers to deploy these agents, or you can use GitHub code spaces, right? So you might need specific license if you want to use GitHub code spaces. You can use DevOps dev containers if you have Docker desktop or something you have installed, and use that to open the container. And from there, it's easily just one click step. If you run this command, that should automatically start the deployment, right? And also we have this full detailed deployment guide where you can configure what services you want to deploy. If you want to do any customizations in terms like, if you want to change from default model to a specific model, you can use those, deployment steps to change any of these configurations. So you can play around. So for time constraint for time purpose, what I did was I simply went ahead and used code spaces. So in my code space, I got this code downloaded, and then I deployed, right? So once you deploy it, it will deploy some of these. You can specify like a resource group and also specify the project name, and this will deploy all the resources that you need, right? So that will deploy Azure AI Foundry project. It will deploy some app containers for the UI, and also it will deploy some storage accounts where it stores all the files and everything, right? So, and then once it deployed, right, all you need to do is come here and do a ZD show, right? So once you run this command, right, it will give you a URL, front-end URL, right? So just access this. This will take you to the application, right? So if you see here, we have deployed a simple agent chatbot to help, to start with, right? So here you can simply ask questions like, show me, all the products available, right? So what the agent is doing is it simply took the prompt, make a call to backend AI Foundry project, and that AI Foundry project make a invocation to OpenAI endpoint. That OpenAI endpoint have integration with the backend unstructured files, and it pulled all the products that are available, right? It also has some access to some user information, so we can see what users and what orders they have placed, right? So if I can ask, like, show me John orders, right? So it took the prompts, it making a backend call, and then it is generating all these, John Smith orders, right? When was the order placed, what order, how much cost, all that information being retrieved, right? So this is a good starting point for you to deploy an agent, right? So if you want to see how this has been deployed, you can come back and click on this AI Foundry project. And so once you got into this project, click on this AI Foundry portal again. That will take you to the deployment, right? So if you go to agents here, you'll see the agent that we deployed, which is nothing but this agent template assistant, right? So here also you'll see all this information. So this is the sample store of 32 files we have provided for these agents to look and respond back. So you can see all that information up here. So, if you are starting for the first time, you don't need to, if you want to try out something like, you don't want to build the whole UI and everything, you can always come here, create a new agent, and simply select the details, right? Whether it might be a knowledge base, or if you want to, you can select what model you want to use. Here I'm using ChatGPT 4o mini model, so you can select all that model information. And if you have some knowledge sources to connect, right, whether it might be files, AI search, or anything, you can use those, information to add the knowledge, right? So we are also trying to expand the data source. Initially we are offering like few data sets, but Azure AI search is one advanced vector search that you can use, because Azure AI search can help you to connect with different backend data sources again, like whether it might be Azure SQL database or any third-party file structure format or anything that you can attach to Azure AI search, and that in turn can connect to your agent. And from here, you can also connect multi-agents, right? So if you want, for example, you go here, right? And if you want to connect multi-agents, you can always connect those multi-agents here. So that's where you will be able to deploy a simple agent project from a template, right? There are multiple templates that are available for you, so you can always take one of them and deploy in Azure, and then you can always play around. So we have some more capabilities in AI Foundry, specifically for tracing and monitoring. So if you want to understand how your agent is working, what is the performance, you can all those you can monitor directly from here, right? We also have guardrails integrated, right? Because these agents have access to a lot of information, but then we also want to have some guardrails in system, right? For example, you want to restrict any hate responses or hate conversations or sexual conversations or anything like those. You can create these filters, and you can add those filters to your agent. And these filters will block specific types of content that are being utilized by the agents or the bots. So this will help you specifically if you have any specific restrictions or constraints that you want to implement specifically around content safety mechanisms, right? And also we have batch job support. So if you want to specifically take some offload tasks, right, or on behalf of user tasks, something like those, you can always create these batch jobs. And these batch jobs, you can schedule like a jobs, typical jobs that you want to configure. And then these will be scheduled on on different schedules, and these can be executed on these schedules to get the response back. So I know that's the starting point, right? So typically, you can directly come here to Chart Playground and start playing around here, right? So if you have some data sources, you can always attach the data sources, right? So like block storage, AI search, or any third-party files. Or if you have any simple URL, you can always give that URL and create an agent using that information, and you can always simply ask that information. So the same agent that we have tested through UI, we can also test directly from here. So go here, click on Try with Playground, right? And then this playground will take you to the same chatbot, right? So see, it's same thing. It show me available, products. So it will return the same response that you saw from the other page, right? The web application. So if you don't have the web application built, but you want to test how things are working from backend, you can always come here and start testing out using the playground that has been offered here, right? And from here, if you want to deploy these agents, you can always see this code. You can see this code, how this has been implemented. You can build a small open VS code, different languages, whatever language you want. You can set that language, and you can simply start by taking this endpoint and deploy in your local environment as well. So that will be pretty straightforward for you to test in your local environment. Right. Yeah, that's how you get started with Azure AI and AI Foundry. How you can deploy a simple agent, and how you can run web projects and things like that. I have added some slides here to test in your local environment, just in case if you don't have code spaces. So you can use some dev containers that you can test or deploy in your local environment. Let's see some use cases, right? So with the agents, right, specifically, recently Carvana has implemented their customer experience agents. So if you look at the benefits of these agents, right, typically, specifically here, right, the challenge here is specifically, Carvana wants to support car buyers across the global, customers that they have, and they want to, streamline that purchase journey, right? And also they want to get some real-time insights, how this customer satisfaction is and things like that, right? So that's where they, build this agent using AI Foundry, and they used Cosmos DB to track all the conversations. They also incorporated AI speech, that actually helped them to do voice to text or text to voice conversations as well. And with that, they were able to, deploy a seamless customer experience agent. It's called Sebastian, to help with all the, customer experience questions, Q&A, or end-to-end, purchase journey and things like that. The other example is recently Toyota also created this multi-agent system to streamline the whole design and knowledge sharing experience, right? So they, they built, they have a lot of queries coming in, with some lot of engineers across, the global system that they have, and they want to have a improved, knowledge sharing, kind of, system. So they deployed this agent using AI Foundry, durable functions, and Cosmos DB. This actually helped them to, get answered all the knowledge-based questions. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have, Azure, so you can always have a lot of learning information that is available in Azure Learn portal. So you can go to Azure Learn portal, a lot of documentation is available, and a lot of certification material is available for you to start it. We have a lot of, projects, GitHub, open source projects and templates are available for you to deploy and, run on Azure, right? So yeah, I mean, you can start with here.
Okay, yeah, I just want to know that, for some complicated agent, does the Azure support offer some a workflow engine to?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you come again? What's your question?
Yeah, so let's say for some agent implementation, if the agent is very complicated, need some some kind of workflow engine to manage it. Is that what Azure offer for some complicated agent, you need so this agent need maybe check multiple things, check conditioning, those. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, so we have the whole framework that is available. I mean, if you have specific, we have this RAG pattern, John, if you want to, I mean, if I understand correctly, you want to check something, right? I mean, do you have that information in a database or an API that can be integrated with this agent, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know you could use a line graph or line chain for managing a certain, to manage some a DAG of some of the, the agent implementation. But is this I guess you guys are using your own more a production ready workflow engine, or you just using the line chain or line graph?
So you can use Azure RAG pattern. So
okay.
With AI search, you can use, I mean, we do support, LangChain, right? With Hugging Face and LangChain, if you want to build, you can build using LangChain. But also we have RAG pattern with AI search we are supporting, right? So if you use RAG pattern, that will be much more useful and native workflow architecture or orchestrator that we are offering.
Okay, great. Thank
Azure semantic kernel. Semantic kernel is, let me see if I can give you a link. Yeah, the Azure semantic kernel is an SDK that can help you to build advanced, workflows, right? Whether it might be triggers or anything like that you're looking. Yeah, you can use Azure semantic kernel.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. I see a question by N. Adeli. Can AI agents be deployed by business users with access to their relevant data sources, or does it have to be through IT, right? Adeli, there are multiple ways you can deploy, these agents. For example, you are talking about business users, right? So these business users, if they have access to Copilot Studio, because Azure has multiple varieties that how you can build these agents, AI integrations. One of them is AI Foundry, right? AI Foundry is in-depth, pro code, feature for developers to deploy and build and do the AI integrations and things like that. But for business users, typically they might not have full detailed knowledge on developing code and things like that. So maybe I would suggest to look at Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is a low-code option, right? So with low-code option, you can simply build an agent or a chatbot, and you can attach data sources, whether it might be files, URLs, or backend systems like Jira or any other systems or any CRM system that you have. They can connect those and build these agents and deploy. So that will be that is what I would recommend for business users if they want to quickly build an agent. And all these data sources that these agents are connected to will be completely sitting in your tenants, so they will not be exposed, or Microsoft will not be using any of these data that you are connecting or using to train any of these models. So it's completely secure.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I can probably go now if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So thanks, Sandeep. Great presentation, and I think I got a fairly lot from this. I'll encourage my team to start using this. But I had 4 questions based on the use case. We are looking at development a RAG-based system for a big telecom customer here in Dallas. So I had these 4 specific questions which I had, which is relevant to them. So they want complete transparency with respect to the RAG system which is being developed. Latency is a big issue for them. Explainability is a big issue for them. Citations are a big issue for them. So these 4 questions are related to that. You can go through each of these, and if you have something which I have asked which is unclear, I can add more context.
Yeah. Thanks, Amit. So I mean, there are multiple offerings that Microsoft is offering, right? Specifically when you look at this, I think, I don't know if I have one more slide. Let me bring that slide. I think that will help you little bit detail around how these AI models that you can deploy and specifically handle these latency issues, right? So typically, right, when you deploy these AI models, Azure is offering multiple ways for you to deploy these models, right? So one of them is standard deployment model. So in this standard deployment model, again, you have a global like a data zone and regional deployment models. So whenever you go to Azure Foundry, and then when you deploy a model, you can choose the deployment scope. So when you deploy as a global, so what global it does is automatically it has inbuilt high availability, right? So for some reason, because when you go deploy a model, it's pay-go model, right? So as you submit the tokens or prompts, you will be getting responses, right? But when you that might be having some latency issues because you are using shared model, right? So to eliminate some of these latency issues, you can do a global deployment. What global deployment will do is you will have 3 standby regions available all the time. So in case one of the region where if having some latency issues, it automatically routes to a different region, and you will get response quicker, right? So you can explore this global deployment model. The other option is provision. So provision is nothing but a dedicated PTU for you and your customer, right? In standard, what it does is we have a GPU that is deployed within OpenAI model or whatever model, right? And then it is a shared GPU, right? So there, there might be multiple customers who are requesting for API access, and you will be responded back. And then you will be charged depending on how many tokens being input tokens and output tokens and things like that. But when you go to provision, it's like a dedicated GPU that will be provisioned for you and for your customer, and which will be available 24/7. And this has low latency because it is dedicated for you, and it is only serving for you and your customer. You will not have any latency issues. So I would recommend to look at provision deployment model, right? And also provision, because you have a dedicated compute, so you can create reservations as well. So when you create a reservation, it will be helpful for you with cost optimization as well. Right?
That's great, Sandeep. Excellent. A follow-up question to this, I don't know if you can elaborate on it, is that when we have tried to develop RAG systems which are multi-turn conversations, right, which become complicated, what happens is that, and I don't know how to crack this problem, you have a finite context window, and all of the transformer architecture is really stateless. So as you keep using up that context, initially the response is excellent, right? But as the conversation becomes more complicated, it becomes more and more difficult because it basically compresses the prior context, summarizes it, pushes it across that finite context window, and the response starts coming to a grinding halt. Is that something you or your customers have faced? And could you share any hacks or techniques to kind of address that?
So there are multiple ways you can do that. Again, there. One of them is so use like a Cosmos database and use that database to link the conversation. So ideally, you can store all the conversations in a database, right? And use that database as one of the endpoint for your AI model, right? So typically, there is a context window, right? When you look at this OpenAI, because it's an API call, right? And there is a context window like 182, 128K or 256K. There is a context window for each prompt that you can pass. And within that context window, you can pass the previous insights, right? I don't know whether you looked into that context window or not, but that's where you can pass the previous conversations or any descriptions or any context that you want to pass it on to the model. You can use the context window to pass, right? But that context window has a limitation, like how many, how much data you can pass. So that's where you can store all this into like a Cosmos DB and use that Cosmos DB, in your grounding to respond while the API is responding, right?
Okay, thanks, Sandeep. Sandeep, if you're okay to share a contact email address, I'll be happy to connect with you too.
Sure. Yeah, I'll post my contacts and I'll also give my LinkedIn information. So yeah, you're happy to help you. Yeah, connect with you.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Okay. So Vikram, I saw a question. You're saying a lot of customers are implementing like chatbots and things like that, and you want to understand more on different use cases that customers are implementing, right? So, obviously there are a lot of, advanced use cases. Specifically, I'll tell you, right, one of my customer is offering security services, right? What they are doing is, they implemented a solution, right, It's like a browser plugin, and that browser plugin detects automatically, if there is any malware or any injection that is happening in your website, right? I mean, you will see a lot of pop-ups coming in when you navigate to different websites. So what they are doing is, they have a browser plugin, and that plugin has a quick link to check whether it's a proper site or malware site or any information. So what they are doing is they capture a screenshot, send it to OpenAI, and OpenAI analyzes the screenshot, whether it might be domain, URL or certificate, all that information it uses, and it proactively identify whether it's a malware or any kind of hijack or any such security practice, right? That is one use case customers are exploring in terms of security, how AI can help them to optimize security practices, right? Second use case, specifically on automation, right? Maybe if you have some tax documentation or invoice automation, right? If you look at a lot of process, right, back-end process or back office transactions, there will be a lot of files being read or transformed, like a lot of ETL jobs being happening. So those are the other use cases that customers are trying to automate using AI, right? Because now we have document intelligence, that they can use to read the documents, where it might be invoice matching or tax matching, tax document processing. A lot of those, customers are exploring and creating more use cases around. Hope that helped you. Any other questions? Yeah, I think I tried to share some link for Azure AI Foundry free access in the chat. So yeah, use that to enroll and register. You'll get $200 free credit, so you can play around. Any other questions? So here is my contact information. So feel free to connect and reach out to me if you have any questions.
All right, we have 2 minutes left for this call. If anyone has any additional questions. So Sandeep, one thing I did notice with Azure Cloud is that it really does consolidate everything nicely into one place. It makes it so much easier to configure and play with the different resources all in one place.
Yeah, that's the advantage, Mark. When you look at, a lot of models are coming through, right? Whether it might be DeepSeek or Minstrel or Claude, or Gemini, a lot of models are coming through. But then when enterprises are looking at these models, you need to have end-to-end, the frameworks or governance and security features, when they want to deploy these agents, because these are open source models. They have a lot of security constraints, and a lot of customers have constraints around how these data are being utilized, right? Specifically, when you are trying to share this information with one of these models, there might be a lot of security loopholes that might be coming across. So that's where Microsoft is stepping up and trying to fill the gaps and also provide developer experience, whether it might be Visual Studio integrations, SDKs, or if you want to deploy through end-to-end DevOps integrations, specifically with GitHub Copilot, right? The whole GitHub is a different gamut where it can take automated actions, end-to-end deployments, and the whole agents being deployed everywhere. So